So welcome to the New Light Temple November service. We're recording this session and it will be shared on our YouTube channel. I'm Reverend Catherine Congdon. I will be leading our service, joined by other bright lights that I will be introducing throughout the service. A little about me. I had the fulfilling, engaging experience of attending All Faith Seminary International and was ordained in June of 2016. In addition to being an ordained interfaith minister, I am a musician, environmental advocate, yoga instructor, mother, and grandmother. At New Light Temple, all are welcome. We have a very open interfaith focus, and we'll be celebrating on the third Thursday of every month with a different theme. This month's theme is Inner Light. And here's our agenda for tonight. We'll have prayers, quotes, and scriptures based on the theme of inner light. Our keynote speaker is Reverend Dr. Bud James, speaking on With Our Inner Light We See. We'll go over seasonal observations, universal blessing, and a guided visualization. We'll have announcements of upcoming spiritual events. An experiential sharing segment, which I'm excited about, and we'll be closing in gratitude. So next is our invocation. I now have the pleasure of introducing Reverend Angela J. Wright, who will be reading our invocation. Reverend Angela was ordained as an interfaith minister by All Faith Seminary International in 2008. Additionally, she has been on the ministerial staff of Sacred Fellowship Ministries Church in Brooklyn, New York for the last 7.5 years. She's a social justice advocate for all oppressed people with a focus on women and youth from the LGBTQIA community. She believes and trusts that God's grace is sufficient and abundant blessings to all. Reverend Angela.
Hello, everyone. Greetings. For the invocation, New Light Temple was founded by Rabbi Joseph Gelberman as a haven where people of all beliefs and backgrounds could joyously come together to share their bountiful and varied gifts of spirit. NLT is the ordaining body for All Faith Seminary International. Our purpose is to provide a sacred space for people of all faiths and ages to celebrate diverse religious and spiritual traditions. We gather for connection, inspiration, solace, and healing while fostering understanding, peace, love, and unity. In the words of Gandhi, I offer you peace. I offer you love. I offer you friendship. I see your beauty. I hear your need. I feel your feelings. My wisdom flows from the highest source. I salute this source in you. Let us work together for unity and peace. Our interfaith motto, which was created by our Rabbi Joseph H. Gelberman, is never instead of, always in addition to. God bless and enjoy the service.
Thank you, Reverend Angela. Now I'd like to invite you all to a moment of silence as we all meditate on this month's theme, Inner Light. Take a deep breath in and exhale. And we'll move on to our prayers and poetry. I have the pleasure of introducing Reverend Don Kunze, who will be reciting our prayers and poetry this month. Reverend Don is a graduate of All Faiths Seminary International class of 2013 and is a member of several interfaith organizations, including the Parliament of the World's Religions and the Connecticut Council for Interreligious Understanding. He writes and lectures on science and religion and is a member of the Institute on Religion in the Age of Science, the International Society for Science and Religion, and the Sacred Garden Fellowship. Reverend Don?
Thank you, Catherine. This evening, our first reading is a Sufi poem of remembrance. It's by the 14th century Persian poet Hafiz. He was given this name because it means guardian or memorizer. He was known for having memorized the Quran at a very young age and all the works of Rumi and other Persian poets. Ralph Waldo Emerson called Hafiz the poet's poet. I wish I could show you, when you are lonely or in darkness, the astonishing light of your own being. Our next reading is a poem by the 13th century Persian Sufi master, mystic, and poet, Jalaluddin Muhammad Rumi. Rumi's life changed at the age of 37 when in 1244 he met a traveling mystic named Shams. After 3 years together, Shams just disappeared. And Rumi, for the next quarter century, produced the poems that have made him, 800 years later, the best-selling poet in America. Lamps and Light. The lamps are different, but the light is the same. So many garish lamps in the dying brain's lamp show. Forget about them. Concentrate on the essence. Concentrate on the light. In lucid bliss, calmly smoking off its own holy fire. The light streams toward you from all things, all people, all possible permutations of good, evil, thought, passion. The lamps are different, but the light is the same. One matter, one energy, one light mind, endlessly emanating all things. One turning and burning diamond, one. Ground yourself, strip yourself down to blind, loving silence. Stay there until you see you are gazing at the light with its own ageless eyes. Buddha's last words to his chief disciple, Ananda, were, "Be a light unto yourself." The American Zen Buddhist priest, Sherry Shadat, observed, "Only when you awaken to our own light can you be fully present to another person's inner light and life. Only then can we respond fully with nothing in the way." Our final reading comes from the New Testament Gospel of Matthew, chapter 5, verses 15 and 16. No one, after lighting a lamp, puts it under a bushel basket, but on the lampstand, and it gives light to all in the house. In the same way, your light must shine before others, so that they will see the good works you do and give glory to the Father in heaven. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you, Reverend Don. And now we move on to our keynote speaker, Reverend Dr. Bud James. I have the pleasure of introducing him. Bud was originally ordained in 1982 by the Church of Divine Man. He joined All Faiths Seminary International about 10 years ago, became an interfaith minister, and received his master's and doctorate in divinity. He is a member of the All Faiths Seminary International and New Light Temple staff and considers A Course in Miracles his true north. Reverend Bud.
Thank you, Catherine. I appreciate that. Tonight, I'd like to talk about why our inner light lets us see. It's an interesting question. Let's see if we can explore it a little bit. Reverend Don just spoke about that. I'd like us to go in time and space back and imagine being there as Buddha lay dying. So after nearly half a century of teaching, here he is surrounded by his distraught disciples. In tearful whispers, they pleaded, "Blessed One, who will be our teacher now? Who will guide us? How will we achieve enlightenment without your help?" The Buddha's last words were, "Be a light unto yourself." Now, all those who had followed his teachings understood, I need to be my own light. The truth is the light. Seek the truth, and the truth will set you free. Free of what? Free from sleep. Sleeper, awake. When Siddhartha Gautama woke up, he was recognized as the awakened one, or a Buddha. He was his own light. He was enlightened. When we study Genesis, we learn that the very first thing that God created after the heavens and the earth was light. And God said, "Let there be light." And there was light. Our scientists tell us that we are made of stardust. Think on that a minute. If we look at it from a physical body perspective, it means that every atom has within it the power of a star. If we look at it from a mystical perspective and recognize that God is light, that means every aspect of our beingness is an extension of divine light. Light, as we experience it in the universe, is amazing. It certainly is to me. As you likely know, there's two general forms of visible light. There's direct and reflected. Now, direct light emanates from a light source, like the sun or a flashlight. Reflected light is what happens when light strikes an object and bounces away from it, like the moon. The moon shines because it's all reflected light. Or the trees, or anything else that we see, we're actually seeing most regularly reflected light. Everyone has their own inner light. Inside of each of us, it's as bright as the glow of the noontime sun. And it is the glow of the memory of who we really are, where we've come from, and where we're going. As we use our inner eyes and we let divine light in, we become more enlightened. There's an understanding and awareness of the answers to our questions that have just been out of reach. In this state of being in the light, being light, everything appears exactly as it should be. We sense that there is a divine reason and plan for everything. There is a sense of profound love and gratitude that may even overflow into tears and laughter. Throughout history, people have experienced enlightenment, a sudden illumination that reveals a larger reality. For a moment, an hour, a day, a year, people flower, unfolding, opening to receive the light. Enlightenment is this experience. It's an awakening to the awareness that everything is connected. Everything and everyone is illuminated by divine light. It may be felt as a sudden resonance, an awareness of the vibration of life energy and intelligence all around you. It's the experience of you and the light are one. And these mystical experiences of being light or being in the light, enlightenment, may come through meditation, music, sport, and altered state, simply appreciating nature or a near-death experience. Any moment will do. The light is always there, always inviting us in. We just need to let go and let God. Let's explore how several wisdom traditions observe inner light. Interestingly, the concept of inner light is central to many versions of Quaker, also known as the Religious Society of Friends theology. Now, this tapestry, which we see in a lot of Quaker churches or meeting houses, says, the Religious Society of Friends may be thought of as a prism through which divine light passes to become visible in a spectrum of many colors, many more in their richness than words alone can express. A prism through which divine light passes. That's another way of looking at ourselves, isn't it? And the Quaker belief that an inner light resides in each person is based in part on a passage from John 1:9, which says, "For that one was the light of truth, which enlightens every person that comes into the world." In Hinduism, Diwali, the Festival of Lights, which we're going to talk about a little bit more later, is a celebration of our inner light. On a more personal level, Diwali is a time to turn inward and light the lamps of knowledge and truth in our hearts and in our minds. With that inner light, we dispel the forces of darkness and ignorance within us and allow that innate brilliance and goodness to shine forth. Interestingly, in the Rig Veda, there's nearly 24 hymns to the dawn, which is when the light first appears, of course, on earth every morning, and its goddess Ushas, the bringer of light. There's a mantra in the Upanishad that says, it's a prayer to God asking, "From darkness, lead us unto light." And perhaps out of all the different Hindu traditions, this is the one I really appreciate. When Indra, the Hindu Lord of Heaven, fashioned the universe, he was said to have cast an infinite net in all directions. Imagine that, an infinite net. This is just showing in one direction, but imagine in all directions. And he tied a pearl at each knot so that every atom exists as a pearl. Every thought, every moment is another pearl. And all these pearls are connected in this net. And if you look at one pearl very closely, you'll see all the other pearls reflected in it. So like a hologram, each pearl contains the whole universe. Buddhist scripture speaks of numerous Buddhas of light, including a Buddha of boundless light, a Buddha of unimpeded light, Buddhas of unopposed light, of pure light, of incomparable light, and unceasing light. Lots of Buddhas filled with light. And of course, the goal of Buddhism is nirvana, which is the blowing out or the quenching of the three fires of greed, aversion, and ignorance. Another way to look at these three egoic subversions is as darkness, or the opposite of light. And as we brighten our inner light, we bring darkness into the light, and it disappears. The Kabbalah, the mystical branch of Judaism, has many references to light. The Zohar is the foundational group of 6 books for studying the Kabbalah. And Zohar, interestingly, means splendor or radiance. Its stated purpose is to illuminate. And the Zohar clearly espouses that the goal of the mystic is to get closer to God, to see his light, to feel the joy that so often accompanies that contact. And among many other things, the Zohar contains discussions of the relationship of the ego to darkness and expresses our true selves as the light of God. So once again, we see that our inner light, our true self, is an expression of the light of God. This is a passage from the 35th verse of the 24th surah of the Quran, and it's called the light verse. Sufism, which is the mystical branch of Islam, describes their spiritual journey as seeking their inner light, which they call the sun of the heart, and that's spelled S-U-N. So again, the sun of the heart. They also refer to it as the sun of the mystery or the sun of the spirit. Now, this light verse testifies God as the light of the heavens and the earth, which is, of course, a theme that we see in many other wisdom traditions as well. Sufis and Muslim philosophers recognize this particular verse and really lends itself to a very mystical interpretation of the Quran, which I quite like. A Course in Miracles, which I consider to be the mystical branch of Christianity, teaches us that the atonement, which is the first and last miracle, is the process of undoing the ego. And that ego is that part of us which has retreated into the illusion of separation and darkness, which covers up our inner light. And the Course teaches us that the atonement can only be accepted within you by releasing the inner light. Lesson 44 of the Course teaches us that God is the light in which I see. In paragraph 2, it states, in order to see, you must recognize that light is within, not without. It is with you always, making vision possible in every circumstance. And as you know from your own personal experience, I'm sure, we only see in light. We don't see in dark. It goes on in paragraph 6 to say, you might find it helpful to remind yourself from time to time that to reach light is to escape from darkness. God is the light in which you see. This inner light is not just in you. It is you. When you touch it, when you express it, you begin to know everything intuitively because you've reconnected as a part of everything. Then the questioner's questions disappear. The distance between the questions and the questioner disappears, and only the universe, exactly as it is, remains. Remember those pearls in the net? We are more connected than you can possibly imagine. When you've experienced the light of the divine, even momentarily through meditation, you begin to express it in your thoughts, in your words, and your actions. It creates a ripple effect of love and light throughout the world. Imagine that, a ripple of love extending from you all around the world. No effort is needed because God is the messenger. Thank you, God. So I encourage you all to let your inner light shine, because only with it can we truly see. Amen. Back to you, Reverend Catherine.
Thank you. That was just beautiful.
My pleasure.
At this point in our service, we're going to move on to the seasonal observations. So this month we are observing the following holy events. As you can see, there are holidays we are observing in November and a bit into December as well. So November 1st, All Saints' Day, is a Christian holiday celebrated to pay tribute to all the saints. November 1st and 2nd, Day of the Dead, also known as Dia de los Muertos, is a celebration of life and death, a day to remember lost loved ones. Traditions include food and flowers, visits with family members, prayers, and stories about those who have died. Related is All Souls Day in Roman Catholicism, a day to pray for and commemorate those who died. November 4th, Diwali, is a festival of lights celebrated in Hinduism, Jainism, and Sikhism. Symbolizing the victory of light over darkness, it is celebrated for 5 days in the lunar months of Ashvina and Kartika, usually late October and November. November 6th, Birth of the Bab. This is a Baha'i holiday commemorating the birth of the Bab, Sayyid Ali Muhammad Shirazi, on October 20th, 1819. The Bab was a prophet and forerunner of the Baha'i revelation, calling on people to purify themselves for the coming messenger of God. November 25th, Thanksgiving. Although Thanksgiving is not a holy day per se, it is celebrated in some religions as a time of thanksgiving and gratitude marked by religious rites. Finally, November 28th through December 6th, Hanukkah is a Jewish holiday commemorating the victory of the Maccabees over the Syrian Greek rulers of Jerusalem and the subsequent rededication of the temple in 164 BCE. Maybe more familiarly, Hanukkah also celebrates a miracle that accompanied this event. When the temple was rededicated, God miraculously made the 1 day's worth of oil burn brightly for 8 days. In celebration of Diwali, our very own Guruji will be giving us a little bhajan while we look at a few things about how Diwali is celebrated today.
Durge, 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 Jai Jai Ma. Durge, 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 Jai Jai Ma. Durge, 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 Jai Jai Ma.
We will be playing Light Shine by Jesse Colin Young during this portion of the service. As you reflect on your spiritual journey, we also want to invite you to become a New Light Temple contributor so we can collectively create and offer interfaith services every month. As you listen, think about your own spiritual journey and how you can let your light shine. The PayPal contribution link is in chat. Now sit back, relax, and let your light shine.
People, let your light shine. Come on now, let it shine. Come on, let it shine on all night and day. People, let your light shine. Come on now, let it shine. Come on, let it shine on all night and day. we survive if we don't let it shine on. Oh, night and day. You know the world is dark with fear, and people scared to let you near. They need you to shine on them all day. People, let your light shine. Come on now, let it shine. Come on, let it shine on all night and day. People, let your light shine. Come on now, let it shine. Come on, let it shine on all night and day. Come on, be a sunrise. Let your love light fill your eyes. Yeah, let it shine all night and day. Moving like a river flow. We can make the feeling grow if you only shine all night and day. People, let your light shine. Come on now, let it shine. Come on, let it shine on all night and day. People, let your light shine. Come on now, let it shine. Come on, let it shine on all night and day. Come on, let it shine.
And now we move to our universal blessing. I'd like to invite Reverend Don back to share this with us. Reverend Don?
Thank you. Our universal blessing. The divine bestows these blessings on all of us. Miraculous love and providence, comfort, hope and healing, understanding hearts, resistance to temptation, freedom from egoism, equal vision, faith, devotion, and wisdom, spiritual progress and inner strength, virtuous hearts, compassion for the less fortunate, love for all. May these blessings of the divine rest upon us. May all beings be well. May all beings be happy. May we lift up the veil and see the divine spark in all of them. Peace, shalom, shanti. Catherine.
Thank you, Reverend Don. And now we're going to move to the guided visualization. So allow all the pictures, sounds, and feelings generated in this experience to create new ways of perceiving, new ways of believing, and new ways of creating your reality that are in total alignment with your highest good. Please sit in your chair, upright and comfortable, feet flat on the floor, hands in your lap, or if you're lying down, be comfortable. Close your eyes or look downwards towards your lap or the floor with a soft, unfocused gaze. Now come to focus on your breath, your regular, natural breath. Notice as it goes in and goes out. Not forcing anything, just noticing your breath of life. Now take a deep breath in, filling your lungs completely. And then exhale completely. Take another deep breath in. And then exhale. And one last time, take a deep breath in. And exhale. Come back to your natural breathing rhythm and relax. Now begin to visualize a small light glowing within your heart, a soft light emanating. Your heart beats. It is a wellspring of love and light. Visualize tendrils of that light spreading from your heart throughout your body to every part of your being. Light is who you are and what you are. Feel the light as it permeates every cell of your being, and the warmth of this light as it envelops you, the healing, transformative light of love. Your light transcends your body. Feel your light connection to all other beings. Many lights joining as one, uniting in peace and love. Your inner light fades from view, but you know it is there within you. You are left with a warmth inside, traces of this experience to carry with you. Now become aware of your surroundings, the sounds around you, this beautiful world of which you are an integral part. Return to focusing on your breath. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Take another deep breath in and exhale completely. And one final deep breath in and complete exhale. Returning to your natural breath. Know that all you have experienced is working towards your greatest good. A gentle smile comes to your face. Whenever you are ready, open your eyes. Thank you. And Reverend Bud.
So after we're done with the announcements, we're going to go into our upcoming experiential sharing segment where we're going to get to talk about and explore how we have experienced divine light. And I'll give you a little taste of what that question is in just a moment. But basically the idea is, what has been your experience of sharing inner light, experiencing inner light? And we'd love to hear from you. And we'll ask people to do that. The themes for the New Light Temple are different every month, and these are all of our various themes. And I'd like to remind you that all of our services are conducted by alumni of All Faith Seminary International. So if any of these upcoming themes speak to you, we'd love to have you participate. Or if you have suggestions for any of these services, any of them that you feel really speak to you, we'd love to have your insights in that as well. Lots of really good things coming up, so we're going to have a lot of fun in that space. Announcements we do have next month, for instance, are Joy and Peace service that's going to be conducted by our very own Reverend Natalia de Resendes, and it's going to be amazing. We'll really encourage everyone to join, and this will be our third month that we're doing NLT, so hopefully things will calm down a little bit more by then, but we'll still have a lot of fun doing it. Lots of music, lots of engagement, a lot of interaction. Again, the third Thursday of every month, so that'll be on December 16th. And the Zoom will start at 7:15. The following month is January, and that's Contemplation and Centering. Again, the third Thursday. And we will be having different people lead it, and it looks like Jon may be leading it that month. We're still getting some input and discussion on the various topics. But this will be an opportunity for us to go inside and look and think about our upcoming year and what's ahead for us, and what are we thinking about when we are looking at our own light and how we're shining it through each of the following 12 months. There is an amazing global conference on Hinduism on December 1st all the way through the 7th. It'll be starting at 9 a.m. EST, continuing to 12 each day. It's sponsored by the Swami Bua Group, led by Guru Dilipji, our very good friend. And you can join on Facebook, and the link should be posted in chat. We'll get that out to everybody. Of course, our very own Reverend Dr. Jon Mundy offers his monthly Sunday with Mundy services and events. They're amazing. This Sunday, the 12th of December, John will be speaking with Robert Perry, who is an amazing ACIM scholar who has published a very thorough analysis of A Course in Miracles called the Complete and Annotated Edition of the Course. And you can register for this fascinating interchange at miraclesmagazine.org. And if you can't get enough of Dr. Jon, and who can't, he teaches nearly every week on A Course in Miracles, focusing on the practical application of ACIM principles. And yes, you guessed it, you can register at miraclesmagazine.org. Reverend Gudjon Bergman is offering in January a legacy edition of his course, Our Shared Humanity. And this amazing program is being conducted along with the Charter for Compassion Education Institute. It's a 4-week course. You get a free book along with it and other educational materials, and it's only $30. And we'll be dropping all these links in chat here in just a moment. If you have any upcoming events that you would like to share, we would encourage you to send them to us at the New Light Temple at gmail.com. What I will do is this: everyone who's attended, I will send out a copy, of course, in email of all of our announcements.
You can also post them on the New Light Temple Facebook page, but not everybody's on Facebook, so an email sounds great.
That would be a good way to do it, yes. And I do.
To introduce Reverend Gudjon Bergman. He is an Icelandic-American author and workshop facilitator who joined All Faith Seminary and the New Light Temple in 2016. In addition to being an interfaith minister, writing over 30 books on everything from self-development to interfaith and meditation, Gudjon is also a singer-songwriter and creates spiritual pop, rock, folk music, and instrumental relaxation music. In fact, the music you heard, if you were waiting for our service to start, if you were on early, is one of his beautiful compositions. Reverend Gudjon, I turn it over to you.
Well, thank you, Reverend Catherine, and hello, everybody. So the experiential sharing section is what I've found is working in Interfaith in the past 5 years now, is that when you tap into the experiential aspect of being human, there are so many things in common. And I conducted an interesting discussion back in February this year during World Interfaith Harmony Week with people from all around the world. And people contacted me afterwards and asked, can I get this person's number and that person's email? And, because in an hour and a half, they felt like they'd become best friends just because they were talking about their experiences rather than the content of their beliefs. So the question we have for you tonight, the experiential question that I would like to ask you, and please chime in as soon as you can and as soon as you want to, is about inner light. So here's the question. It has a few parts. Have you ever had an experience of inner light personally? If yes, how did that feel? What did it sound like to you? What did it look like? And I guess most importantly, how did it influence your life afterward? So if you had that experience personally, I personally had an experience of light that I'm not going to share right now, but may do later when I was 19, and it dramatically changed the course of my life over decades now, I can see. So who wants to jump in and get the ball rolling here? So you've seen the question.
Yeah.
You ever had an experience of inner light? If yes, how did that feel? What did it sound like? What did it look like? How did it influence your life afterward?
Well, I guess I'll share.
Thank you, Catherine. Yeah, somebody has to get the ball rolling and get it started.
So I guess my experience with inner light came as a surprise to me. And it was a very healing experience for me. I was at a service, and at the time I was really doing it to humor somebody in my family who wanted me to go to this service, and people were praying over me, and I was like, I'm not even sure why I'm here. And but I felt this amazing untying of knots within my heart, and I started crying, and I would. For me, that was a moment of revelation that there is a God or, something there, a real physical impact on me. And, since that time, I've been aware of that light, inside me, which I know is inside each one of us, inside everything. My experience with inner light.
Thank you, Catherine. As you see, it doesn't have to be long. We actually put a time limit, 2 minutes max. So please jump in if you have anything that you'd like to share. Just either raise your hand physically or you can do the little raise your hand thing on Zoom. Yes, John?
First experience I had of inner light was at age 2, crawling across the New York Times on the bed with my father and playing a game and, kind of hide and go seek. And I looked into my father's eyes. I could see his light, but I could also see that he could not see my light. And that was a rather challenging experience that I didn't take particularly well, in the sense that I retreated a part of my being into the light for a very long time. And I wanted to just share that because so many of us here live the light, live the life of the light, of the inner light. And when we do have that challenge, that existential challenge of people where the light is truly not on yet, and shining our light is all that we can do. But one of the challenges is there is nothing to do. But the challenge is to maintain one's integrity and reach out to others when so much of the time that light is not reflected back to us.
Thank you, John. I appreciate that. Okay. Anybody else want to share their experience of inner light? By the way. Yes, Don, please go ahead.
It's a question that requires a lot of thought.
Mhm.
It's almost like I needed the question yesterday to really delve into where it comes from. And the meaning that comes out may not seem important at the time, but maybe later. What brings to mind, actually, there's two stories. One is mine and one is somebody I met while on the Camino de Santiago, the pilgrimage across northern Spain, which I did in 2018. And first with the person I met, it was a woman who was in her early 30s. She had gone blind from an infection. And she had a dream one night. And she had been very depressed and so forth. And in the dream, she saw herself taking a trip. And she had a backpack and was in the mountains. And there was a beginning state was one of great depression. But at the end of this walk, she was full of joy. And I had a chance to meet her on this journey, going across northern Spain. And her blindness was going away, and she started to wear dark glasses, but she was just full of joy. And the question that she said was, well, with her friends, how did you find this? Once you had the dream, how did you end up here? And it was her friends who said, let's go on the internet and see what's there about hiking. And there was a yellow sign too, which is of course a symbol of the Camino. And within probably 2 days of being aware of the Camino, she had made a reservation and began the journey, which is about a 36, 40-day journey across. So I had a great dinner with her one night. There's a lot of sharing that goes on at this point because people have different reasons for going on the Camino. In my case, it's a long trip. I guess I was finding myself towards the end somewhat exhausted. And you end up at the cathedral in Santiago, and they have a pilgrim's mass a couple times a day. So attending the pilgrim's mass, there's a portion of it where they get that incense lantern flowing back and forth as the priests are pulling it. And this voice from this beautiful nun filled the chamber. And it's like it exploded on you. And you all of a sudden said, what's happened to me? Right? And it was like the struggles and everything is all lifted at that point. So it's one of those experiences that you'll never forget.
I think you touch on a very important point, Don, that asking this question is both, you need time to reflect on it, and it's also intensely personal. I know that I didn't share my experience of inner light for 20 years with anybody because I felt weird about it. I was 19 when it happened. I had no idea what had happened. And it took confirmation from at least 2 or 3 sources that I trusted to see, oh, this was actually a thing. This was actually something that had profound meaning. So I understand that I'm asking a lot of everybody here to talk about their inner light, but I also know that sharing, it ignites something within everybody else. So if you have something to share, just know that even if not everybody shares, what you say resonates. And that's the beauty of sharing experiences. They resonate with others. So thank you for sharing that, Tom. My brother went on the Camino a few years back, and it really influenced his life in a good way. So who else wants to share? Laura, go ahead.
I could take a lot of time talking about my inner light experiences, which I'm not going to do. But here's a picture of inner light. I'm a proud great auntie.
Aww.
Yeah, that's inner light. Nice to see everybody.
Me too.
Thank you, Laura. Okay, we'll give a few more seconds. If nobody else wants to share, I may share my story and then we can wrap it up. Yes,
I'll share a
Suzanne?
brief.
Yes,
Hi, Reverend.
please.
Nice to meet everyone.
Yes,
I have
you
a very
too.
brief story. So for many years, I followed a guru. And my time in New York with him, I've been to India with him. And we would spend hours and hours and hours in meditation. And I have one experience that's a little too intimate to really discuss because it was a Kundalini situation. But there was another one where he asked us just to bless everyone we saw on the street after we left our gathering. And so I was on the Upper West Side, just walking on, I don't know, Amsterdam or whatever, and then on a cross street, maybe 83rd. And I would just say, bless you, silently. Bless you, bless you, bless you. Just to everyone, you know. And then one guy looked at me and he said, God bless you. Out loud. And that was a trip. I didn't know what to do with that. I was just so taken. You know, it was as if there was this angel who was listening, you know, and articulated it back. And it was a really extraordinary experience. How has it changed my life? I don't know. I'm so ego-laden in so many ways. But one thing I will say is that I've been on this path for a while. Since 19, I just turned 60, and I'm getting closer. I'm getting closer to more and more experiences of love. So thank you. Was it fun?
Thank you so much, Suzanne. Thank you. That's, to me, that's just light, recognizing light, isn't it? You know, and nothing has to be said at that point, except bless you. Excellent. Anybody else want to share? Experience of inner light? No? Okay, well then I teased my story, so I better tell it, right? So I was 19 and I went to a light body workshop with Patrice Noli, who was a frequent guest in our New Age group in Iceland. And I was really there for my parents. I was 19. I really wasn't into the New Age thing at all. I was just there because they said, hey, come with us. But I was open. So I just sat down and I closed my eyes and I just went on the trip that Patrice led me on. And it started off really simple, you know, fill your body with light. Sure, I did that. And then connect to the light grid. Sure, I did that. And then fly up and connect to the light grid and see all the other light beings, and sure, I did that. And then I stopped following Patrice and I just went on my own. And I flew down to my country, Iceland, and I touched the water and the water turned into light. And so I flew up and I touched all the water in Iceland and it turned into light. And then I touched the ocean, and the ocean turned into light. And I flew up and around the world, and I touched all the waters, and they all turned into light. And then I flew into the earth, and I melded with the earth, and the earth turned into light as well. And then I flew into the sun, and I merged with the sun. And then all of a sudden, I was just flying through space, and it was just gobbling up all the darkness, just, you know, light, darkness, light, darkness. And it was really intense. And at that point, I started feeling like my body was actually disintegrating, was actually like dissolving into molecules, into light. And then fear gripped me. I had no idea what was going on. I was 19 again. I had no idea what was going on. And so I had this really intense thing going on, but I couldn't stop it. I couldn't open my eyes. I couldn't stop the tingling from happening. I couldn't stop the feeling of dissolving, of disintegrating. And I'm told it took 20 minutes to guide me back from that. I was crying hysterically when I finally came out of it, afraid for my life. because I thought really that if I just let go, that would be it. And again, when I came out, I really didn't get any guidance about what had just happened. And so I actually went in the opposite direction of seeking light for the next 5-6 years. But it was always there, always this sensation. And then when I got introduced to yoga a few years later, that all of a sudden resonated with me. And there was this one story in yoga that really says what this experience did. The story of the snake in the darkened room. And so if there's a snake in the darkened room, and then you turn on the light and you say, oh no, the snake is a rope. It's really just a rope. So no matter if you turn off the light again, you always know that the snake is a rope, right? And I think that's what it did to me, this experience. I always know that the snake is a rope. I always know I had a vision beyond the veil. But as I said, I didn't share this with anybody for 20 years. I read a book by an Icelandic mystic who ran the Theosophical Society. I got really interested in everything like that. And I read a book by an Icelandic mystic who described something very, very similar. And then when my dad died, he left his library of Amram Mikhail Ivanov books to me. There was a mystic out in Europe. And he wrote about a very similar experience. And that finally did it, where I said, oh, this was something. And then the dominoes fell into place. And then I realized, oh, okay, this is... And so it keeps influencing me, this experience. And I guess I really haven't quite, realized what it taught me exactly. But I know that it taught me an important lesson, and I keep running, but coming back into this sense of oneness, sense of light, sense of beyond the veil. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. So,
thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Wonderful.
And if nobody else wants to share their story of inner light, then that concludes the experiential section of the program.
Thank you, good John.
Thank you, Bud. And back to you, Reverend Catherine.
Thank you.
For the conclusion.
Thank you. That was beautiful. And I think you've got us all thinking about our inner light, even if people didn't share. So thank you all for joining our service this month. We wish you blessings, peace, and joy. And we'll see you on December 16th.
Okay.
Blessings and thank you.
Thank you, Catherine.
Yes, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Catherine. It was beautiful.
And you can find out more about Gujon's music at his website, gujonbergman.com, since we all enjoyed it at the beginning.